Welcome, everyone, to the Island Life podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 48 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this special two-person adventure is, of course, our Survivor newbie, the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his 5th season of the show. I give you Survivor F.
What's going on, folks? Survivor F here.
We are so back. We've been exploring the worlds of older Survivor. We watched not so old season, Dave vs. Goliath. We watched quite an old season, Cook Islands, and now we're back to the present, modern day, season 49. What's your hype level?
Yeah, I love it, honestly. Like, the way that it's been pretty exhilarating for me, just because you get to see a little bit of it all. You get to see the modern format, then you get to see one of the classics. I'm sure for a lot of folks following us, some of the seasons that we've been going through are pretty iconic in their own right. And getting back into the modern format with season 49, I was looking forward to it because personally, so far, I have preferred the modern format. And as we're approaching season 50, I'm more than a tenth of the way there, going 5 seasons strong. So sooner or later, I will no longer be the newbie. That's the milestone I'm hoping to cross.
Yes, for anyone new here currently, I would say F has earned the rank of Survivor Toddler. So when he experiences something new, we would call it Toddlers First. But that's already one rank up for Babies First. So
Okay,
he's moving up the ranks.
I'll take it. At least I can walk now.
Indeed. So as we get into 49, I think what the cloud above this whole season is gonna be, will this season stand out from the shadow of season 50, which is coming next? Because so much, I mean, they never reveal the cast of a season 2 seasons away. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. But these are special circumstances, so that's happened already. People are already talking about it. Um, there are people. This was told by Jeff Rope, so this isn't news to people. Uh, there are people from this season that will be on season 50. So that might be fun to like start rooting for, not to say a winner, but for who you want to be coming back. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I
There's a lot to look forward to with season 50. We have it's a big milestone. There's a lot of shows that don't reach 50 seasons. For Survivor to get there, it's great. And you're right, it does sort of overshadow what we're currently seeing in season 49. So hopefully this is a really good season in its own right, and it's something that can stand on its own. Uh, I don't know where we're gonna go from here. It's very exciting. Really looking forward to seeing what the season ends up taking us into and what sets it apart from the other seasons.
I do miss the themes though, and this is the same for season 41, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Without a stated theme, it's really all on the cast to build up what we remember in the storylines. That doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it's more fresher now. It's easier to lose my interest without an easy inherent storyline. Um, but so far, I mean, there's a lot of cool things going on, and obviously this is a premiere, so the episode was longer. We get to learn about most of these people, and that's where we're gonna start. So we're gonna break down the members of the cast, and as we go through them, if we remember something specific, um, regardless of when it happened in the episode, I think we can break it down.
Let's get into it.
Let us start with the Red Tribe, which is Uli. Uh, so starting off from the top, we have Jawan Pitts, 28, from Los Angeles, California, a video editor.
Very, very strong first impression for me for Jawan. I immediately got hooked because he was wearing overalls. and he was rocking them. You don't see a lot of people wearing overalls nowadays, so I was loving his style. I was loving that he was rocking those.
Oh yeah, no, I loved it. I loved it. And like at first, like he had like whatever shirt he's wearing, and then over that shirt, the overalls. Then later, no shirt, only the overalls. And I think there's one scene later where he had the shirt but not the overalls. So I feel like he's like swapping different styles.
That's gotta be the fit for
But
most of the season if you were to ask me, the no undershirt, just the overalls.
it's got to give you confidence, though. You know, he's confident in
Yeah,
his
of
own skin.
course. Like I said, not a lot of people rock those, so, it really stands out.
Next on Uli, we have Nate Moore, 47-year-old from Hermosa Beach, California, a film producer. This is our rad dad, uh, and a film producer for seemingly some of the greatest movies in terms of sales and tickets and everything, like a bunch of MCU
Y
movies.
Yeah, yeah, he's one of those hidden tigers, not wanting to reveal potentially how popular he might be, but, still giving off some humble vibes. He seems to be pretty level-headed. I certainly have taken a liking to Nate.
His of course, his tactic to hide his level, so we've seen people who lie about their occupation, a bunch of them have been lawyers, so his style is, "I'm not gonna lie about my occupation, I'm gonna lie about how prominent I've been," right? It's like, "Don't reveal I've done, like, the Avengers movies." Of course, he chooses to mention the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man specifically Spider-Man 2, which I feel like that's almost as impressive as just the current
Yeah,
day.
that movie is
I guess the
beloved.
only yeah, I guess the only advantage is maybe that comes across as, like, he's past his prime, so he's not, like, currently doing big films. Maybe that was what he was going for, but
He
still, I feel like people know that's
Yeah,
his.
yeah, I was getting those vibes, and he also did mention, like, when he was describing himself that he's a stay-at-home dad first and foremost, so, it comes off as he's not wanting to show off or anything, which is pretty interesting. I like that.
Yeah, I really like Nate. Nate, when we have to make our winner picks, my eyes I'm not saying I'm picking Nate, but eyes are on Nate. The only thing is he was worried about coming across as a dad to the tribe. So some similar like people like basically as a it's dangerous to be viewed as the parent because very soon people are like, "You're not my dad, you're not my mom," so it's dangerous. But you're right, part of his fictitious occupation story he's telling people includes stay-at-home dad, so by definition, he's already making that part of, like, his persona, so
He's
I wonder if that'll get him in trouble later.
Yeah, he's up there. I still don't think he beats Joe from the previous season in terms of, like, dad vibes, especially like, the first episode, but I would say he's a close second.
Yeah, well, I guess what we to see is, like, Joe ultimately was embraced as a dad figure by Eva and eventually their whole alliance. Will Nate be embraced as a dad figure by anybody? That remains to be seen. Um, Next, we have Rizzo Velovic, 25-year-old
The
from Yonkers, New
Rizzgod.
York,
The
tech
Rizzgod.
sales, Rizzgod. Rizzo, so he is young because he's 25, but I mean, he looks like 20. He looks really young.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, honestly, he looks like he would be in college.
and like I would be surprised. Like he looks like the person who is 20 and then they lie about their age to say they're like 24 or something. Um, but he does not lie about that. He says he's 25. Um, he's also just a captivating personality. He looks like just so happy to be there. He was put in a spotlight he didn't really want in the challenge we'll talk about, uh, giving good confessionals. Uh, I mean, really, the only question is gonna be with the people around him having a little bit more life experience, especially on some of the other tribes too. Like, depending how far he goes, how will he negotiate the social politics as time goes on. Because right now they're winning, so or they're at least not losing Q6, so nothing tough has had to happen. On this tribe, like the people that are getting close are not exactly including him, so I'm a little worried about that. But we just started. There's plenty of time. Um, but his eagerness and excitement is just infectious. So I love Rizzo so far.
Absolutely. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing him in more challenges. I feel like he would be a fun personality.
Definitely. Uh, Next we have Sage Aaron's Nichols, a 30-year-old from Olympia, Washington, clinical social worker. Um, Funny enough, her and Savannah, like I feel like both were looked very similar, acted very similar, are currently like at least for now like aligned, like not enemies yet. Uh,
This one,
so I'm very curious how
yeah,
this
I I
progresses.
don't know about that. This one's a weird one for me to describe just because I'd like to know a little bit more about her. Like I know like there are things mentioned that like, oh, she essentially does not have a filter. Nate did mention that.
Mhm.
But I don't really have too much else to go on with her. Like appearance-wise, the thing that struck out for me is like, she's got like really like crystal blue eyes. Like that's like fascinating. Like that was like the first thing I noticed, like off like the title card. Like it's just that's like the thing that like I know about her is like her eyes. Like that just comes across as weird. So I'd like to get to know more about how she plays the game, what sets her apart. You made a mention that she seems similar to Savannah, who's the next person up, also part of that tribe. I don't know, I feel like I got a little bit more out of Savannah in terms of what her personality is like. I don't know if
Oh,
I
no,
have.
we definitely got more for Savannah. I just mean, like, where Savannah tended to steal the spotlight, her spotlight included Sage and even Shannon to the extent, so, like, I have not
Yes,
yet
okay.
for
That's a good
now,
point.
their stories feel aligned and narrated by Savannah. But in the upcoming episodes, we will probably get Sage's opinions on things and Shannon's opinion. We got some from Shannon too. Um,
Yeah, it's just one
so
episode, so, I think that's how it goes. Some people you don't get to see too much of, so I felt that about Sage. I don't really know what
yeah, the
she's
more thing
about
is
so
like
far.
the Sage just speaking her mind and uh in all situations, even before the game even starts. That you often make opens the door to be an easy target. And yet it didn't seem like she was targeted yet. I mean, we'll see. They weren't pushed to have to make a decision. So I guess that's the one notable
Something to
thing.
keep an eye on for sure. I think part of it is due to the tribe dynamics. This tribe does seem to be pretty chill.
Yeah. We mentioned Savannah, so we have Savannah Louis, 31 from Atlanta, Georgia. She's
Savannah
a
from
former
Georgia.
reporter. So yeah, Savannah from not Savannah, Georgia, but Atlanta, Georgia. You have to wonder if she like blacklisted Savannah, never wanted to move there ever because be
That's
stealing
right.
her spotlight. Um, I actually missed until, like, halfway through the episode that she was a former reporter. I thought she was, like, currently a reporter. I was like, "Oh my god, what a gamble." Like, if you don't do well, if you look like a fool on the show, then, like, you'll go back to work and, like, your audience will laugh at you.
I was actually
Uh,
thinking that too. Yeah, that got me too.
so Savannah so far has been an excellent narrator in confessionals, um, which sometimes that's a good sign for how long she had the game, but obviously, like, it just depends how things unfold, especially nowadays. Um, I think
She
the biggest thing is anything she's annoyed about, which has been a lot so far, I think, she has only expressed her feelings in confessionals, which is
Right.
good. She has not had like lost control and just complained either to the person's face or even behind their back, because you complain behind their back and then that gets around to them somehow, and now you're a target.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that doesn't happen, especially early in the game. As you mentioned, she had some confessionals where she's speaking her mind. She comes across as someone who's a go-getter, is looking to really play the game, figure out her tribe dynamics, is in it to figure out immediately, like, where are my advantages, who can I work well with. I know everyone talks about that, but her actions, the way that she is shown during confessionals, the way like her body language kind of speaks to that. So she could be someone who, as we go on, I could see probably trying to lead this tribe. I could be wrong, but it's either between her or the next person, Shannon. Those are the two who strike me as people who potentially would want to be leading that tribe.
Yeah, and she's also, like, been pulled into a couple different potential alliances. The classic, "I really got good vibes from you. I think we should just keep going." "Oh, yeah, me too." Like, but I think, like, she's a bunch of those because Shannon and her so Shannon, the next person, Shannon Fairweather, 27 from Boston, Massachusetts, a wellness specialist.
Red Sox
Funny
fan.
enough, well, okay, we don't know that. She said that Fenway Park is like a church, but that was when she was growing up. I'd like to hope that she grew out of that and joined the good side of things. Um, but Shannon leads everyone in yoga, and Savannah tells us in confessional she's not about this. Like she's not here for the vibe. She's just, like she's over it. But like I said, she still goes through with it. She doesn't just like walk off or something. And in fact, like talks to Shannon later, and they do agree to work together for now, which is kind of cool. Like I don't like what you're doing, but actually, I think like I can see past that. I think you're going to be a good strategic player, and therefore, I want to work with you for now. Um, and so there's there's a couple of groups that have started to find out because Savannah and Shannon and Nate and Rizzo, in theory, have a chance to work together. They all kind of talked about maybe doing that. But then at the same time, Jawan at some point also, I think, was walking um, with it might have been Nate, um, but whoever to also build alliance there. Jawan's problem, of course, is that at some point he might have originally going to be with Savannah, but kind of gets frustrated trying to build a fire, is unable to do it, walks off, and Savannah, like a little harsh, but she's like, well, he can't even keep his composure, not making fire. Like, I don't know if I should be working with someone like that.
I hope what we saw wasn't like edited in any way for that sequence because it didn't seem like he was like that upset over it. It seemed like yes, it's a frustrating thing to not be able to make the fire if you, especially if you have any sort of self confidence in going through that. But he, looking at him, it did not seem like oh he's overly upset. It's just he's showing frustration, and that's pretty human. And but for Savannah to take note of that, it shows that she's being very observant and trying to piece together the strengths and weaknesses of her fellow tribe mates. That was one where it's like, I don't know if she's kind of jumping the gun there and judging him a little bit too harshly. But then again, I don't know if that was edited and we just didn't see part of it.
Yeah, it's hard to say. If it gives the vibes of the beginnings of a storyline, and we'll see that storyline continue in a future episode. That's kind of what it gave. So that's our 6 people from Uli. So let's continue. We're gonna go to Hina now. That's the yellow
Yeah.
tribe. So first we could talk about Jason Truel, 32 from Santa Ana, California. He is a law clerk.
He is
Um,
also a former professional gamer. So that was a
yes,
nice sequence he had with the rest of his
by,
tribe.
by yes, by definition, as I feel like he was a tad nervous to say it at first, but it's like, yeah, okay,
It could
played,
be a stigma
and
behind
yes,
it.
And yes, I won money with it there. I was like, "Yeah," but I thought people were excited about it.
I
People were
honestly, I
on
was
board.
surprised. I never in my life did I think I would be watching Survivor and not only hearing someone talking about Super Smash Brothers Melee, but like a mod of Super Smash Brothers and playing that professionally. So it just blew my mind that not only was he talking about it, but some of the people like actually knew what he was talking about.
Yeah. Hmm. Um, we also have Christina Mills, a 35-year-old from Edmond, what's it, Oklahoma, an NBA career coach. Christina, also very excited to be here, but also clearly way out of her depth.
City Slicker.
But exactly. But I mean, she's excited about it. She's not like, oh god, like curl up in a ball. Like, what have I done?
Yeah,
But you
she
do have to question, is that gonna like? It's all fun on day 2, but on day like 10, how should we be feeling?
yeah, I think we definitely saw it for some of the tribe people in this Hina tribe. The same thing that I just said about Sage, where I don't know too much about them, and Christina in particular is another one where, yeah, I would say the same, where outside of her fear of birds, she's mentioning she's a city slicker. We didn't really get to see too much of her, so we don't fully know what she's about just yet.
Yep, indeed. We also have Matt Williams, 52, from St. George, Utah, an airport ramp agent. Funny enough, Matt is the person that did not know what Jason was talking about. Um, but again, this is good on a lot of these people are doing the correct thing in the social game. While he's there, not understanding, it's not he doesn't like get frustrated and walk away or something, or be like he asks questions even. He tries to ask if the gaming is what streaming is. So I feel like this would come off positive, like a little endearing, like, oh, he's trying to understand. The friendly boomer, if you will.
He's uh he's competing with Nate for those dad vibes.
Yes, but Mac, I think clearly is gonna embrace the dad vibe. I mean, I don't think he's hiding anything. And unlike basically every single person here, he is very comfortable in the outdoors and comfortable doing the survival things, such as making fire.
I thought that sequence with him was very funny that he was watching everyone else try to make a fire and just everyone could tell he was just kinda there just watching and judging, not saying anything. And I don't remember who it was it Steven that said, "Hey, like, it looks like you kinda know what you're doing when it comes to making a fire, so why don't you just make the fire?" And that's what prompted him to immediately go and start the fire. It's not something he himself just took initiative on, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, yeah, because he's worried about for almost 50 seasons, what tends to happen is someone tries to take charge, people it comes across as you being bossy, even if that's not what you're doing, and then you have a target, and then suddenly you find yourself the first person to put it out. So he's trying to avoid that. But you're right. What it also kind of creates is, so you could have done this the whole time and you let us just like struggle for who knows how long before doing like it kind of as like it hasn't been consequences yet, but that's kind of funny that he had the opposite problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So, another interesting one to watch to see how the tribe dynamics form there around him.
Next, and oof, let's see if we can do this. We have MC Chukwuejiku, maybe.
Hey, you
Uh,
said it way better than I could. Just call her MC.
20 29 from San Diego, California, fitness trainer. I think the only thing um is we see MC and Jason also kind of bond with Steven and Matt. that hasn't needed to go anywhere yet. They've been winning all the challenges. Um, by the way, this whole tribe, super vibe. I mean, way even more vibe tribe than the red tribe. I mean, they're singing, they're chanting their name as they come into challenges. Everyone's hyped.
Yeah, I like the dynamics of this tribe so far. Clearly, they've got something good going, and let the good times roll.
Yep. Um, we also have oh no, I didn't even notice this. Is this true? We got 2 Sophies. So this is uh Sophie Segretti, 31 from New York, New York.
At least their
Strategy.
names are spelled differently.
Yeah. I gotta I gotta separate them in my mind because I don't know that we saw a storyline of Sophie yet. This Sophie anyway.
Yeah, I think that goes back to what I was saying that, like, we just for the most part, we have not seen too much of the Hina tribe, so it's like that kind of you just, like, totally, like, ignore the fact that, yes, someone else is also called Sophie, and just
Yeah,
having a
yeah,
discussion
I'm
about a
sorry if
Sophie.
I'm yeah, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting her whatever she did in this episode because the other Sophie I think stands out a lot more. I mean, but granted their tribe actually went to tribal, so that makes sense, but, um,
Yeah, yeah, no,
we
for
shall
sure,
see about this.
I'm right there with you. I think this is one where most people watching would probably feel the same way just because he knows good enough that, like, we just did not need to see too much of them.
And last, we have Stephen Ram, 35, from Denver, Colorado, a rocket scientist.
Yeah,
He's one of the first people we see, right? Because like,
he's one of the
after
first people we
everyone goes to the
see.
beaches.
He gets quite a lot of screen time, and I will say I'm so glad he's a rocket scientist because he can actually whoever comes out and says, "Well, it's not rocket science."
That it's gonna come up. You for sure it's probably gonna come multiple times, honestly, as long as he stays in the game. I think the one thing for Steven is there are a couple there's just one confessional where so, like, he's talking to, I think, everybody individually. And that may or may not be good. It depends how much those people then talk to each other. But then in confessional, he's acting a little insecure and he's like, well, I don't know if the other people are just being nice to me and maybe they don't actually like me at all. It's kind of funny because it's kind of what you're doing because you're kind of saying like to each person, like, oh, we should be allies, we should be our number ones. But we'll see. I mean, that's like a little just a faint yellow flag because obviously like to already be feeling paranoid before anything's even happened. You're not going to try more thing is a little concerning, but for now, it's fine.
I personally did not read too much into that. It just felt like he's someone who has grown up with a lot of self-doubt, due to the environment that he was brought up in, so he's obviously out of his element here. He's trying to just get the lay of the land, figure out how to work within the dynamics of his tribe, and then compete with the other tribes on top of that. I think this is one of those things where he's just trying to be open-minded, but also speak his mind. So it's you're seeing a behavior which does seem to be pretty hypocritical, but I think it's just a matter of he's trying to self-reflect, and this could be the basis of his path to growing as an individual through the course of Survivor. That's one of the aspects of Survivor I love to watch, someone kind of growing outside their shell and using what they've learned over the course of the game to develop as a person.
Well said, well said. I always worry though, like to achieve that, you actually have to survive. Like if you get voted out first, then there's not too much to learn. But uh yeah, so Omar tribe, and this is our tribe that quite a lot of fun stuff happens, of course, because there's the ones that have to go to tribal. This is the Kele tribe, the blue tribe. So we'll start with Alex Moore, 26 from Washington, DC. a political comms director. Alex, of course, is the person whose decisions were all made for him by his tribe members in terms of what alliance is going to be and everything. He also was the who person who participated in the second challenge to like redemption challenge.
Yeah,
Um,
he's the opposite of the Rizzgod in the sense that when I saw his age, I thought he was actually a lot older than what his age actually is. He's only a year older than Rizzo. I thought for sure he was, like, at a minimum in his 30s. No disrespect there, Alex, just calling it like I see it.
Yep, and Alex, we're gonna have a lot to talk about him in a second once we're done here. But first, we also have Annie Davis, 49 from Austin, Texas, a musician.
She'd also mentioned she's an entrepreneur. It's not in there, but, it seems like she's had a pretty well-rounded career. She knows when to take charge, and that was something that was shown in her scenes where she's trying to figure out how to come across, whether it be bossy, where to take charge. I know that's especially difficult for people who are in those sorts of leadership positions to try to work with other survivors as not coming across as irrational and just like having it be my way or the highway type of thing. But it's something that it seemed like, she's aware of. And it's something that, her other tribe members would also make note of.
Yeah, Annie's in the that. So in these seasons, where with the three tribes of six, a lot of the times a group of four develops, and then it leaves two people on the outs, and the only question is then are those people aligned or not? So in this scenario, there's a group of four that does not include Annie, but Annie is not actually aligned with Nicole. So this will cause trouble for her in this episode. And part of it starts when they're still gathering supplies to potentially start building their shelter, though they don't have the machete or anything yet. And from what we see, Annie does not walk back with everyone, but it is just like she's concentrating on getting more of the palm fronds and stuff, and the social cue she misses is that, like, everyone wants to take a break together and kinda, like, take a moment and bond, but she's in the middle of working, so she wants to finish what she's doing, and then she'll join them.
Right.
But to everybody else, now they are all gossiping about you, and they like, "Oh, well, she's by herself, she could be looking for an idol," which I don't think is true. I think she's legitimately not doing that, but clearly it's gonna look that way.
Yeah, it'll be nice to watch the Survivor season where tensions don't immediately become high, where people are just all just relatively chill and understand that, hey, we're just trying to get acclimated with one another. Let's just take a step back and just talk, and everyone has that same vibe. That would be interesting to see.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll see what I can do if we see. Usually people are very anxious on day one.
I don't
Quick
blame them.
enough. Next we have Jake Latimer, 35 from State actually, yeah, help me. State Albert. Uh, what province is AB?
Alberta.
St. Albert, Alberta. Correctional officer. We didn't mention it before, but we have Canadian, and then we have um, you'd probably say Canadian American, since he lives in uh
Yeah.
DC right now. Oh no, it's I lied. That's Jeremiah is the other Canadian. Uh,
Yes, this tribe has, 2 Canadians, if anyone's confused, so this might as well just be the Canadian tribe.
oh yeah, and Jake definitely like you can. I think for sure you can tell. Uh,
Yeah, he has an accent.
Jake is an enigma. I don't I don't really know what's going on with Jake, but he is funny.
Yeah, I don't think Jake knows what's going on with Jake. I I don't think I've ever said this about a survivor in episode 1, but watching this with you, you heard me make a comment where, like, I just don't know what his end game is. The fact that I'm saying that, like, on episode 1, it's just like I don't know if his strategy makes sense to him, but he just came out and said, "Hey, like, I might be having a kid soon," like, while I'm on the island, and just revealing that to the rest of his tribe mates. And you could look at that in one of 2 ways. One that, "Oh, okay, like, that's awesome. He wants to win it for his family and start that family, and this would be kind of the right step in that direction." My initial assessment of that is that, like, hey, like, that's a pretty important moment in your life. Why would you, like, not wanna like, why would you not be there for that, right? Like, and that could give justification for people to eliminate you just on the basis of, "Hey, be there with your family." Like, we don't wanna, like, be keeping you away from that sort of thing. So, there's that, and then there's just as we just touched up on Alex previously, he did not have any line of dialogue with Jake, and Jake immediately just took a liking to him. He just got this vibe from him that he felt that he could trust him. No questions asked, nothing like that. So, is that a winning strategy in Survivor? I would definitely say
Well,
no.
it's not just that. Let's be clear. So Jake suddenly meets Alex because 'cause they're all standing, like, as the game starts on those mats, and they
Yep.
do compete together, but, they're focusing on this really hard challenge. Then, since they are one of the 2 tribes that lost, someone has to go to this other beach by themselves, and Alex is picked for that, and then he's gone. So Jake from's like, Alex really stepped up, so, like, that's tough guy. In fact, I just know. You could just tell these things. With guys, you just get this thing. You know when a bromance is there, and we're a bromance. Like, oh,
Yeah, I
like,
mean, he immediately
can't
just
sleep
called
with
it a
this, that, anything.
bromance without even having
A
a conversation with Alex.
and later, uh, like, he'll be talking with another person on his tribe, Sophie, and Sophie's interested in starting an alliance with Jake, and Jake's like, "And you know what? We should have Alex because me and Alex, like, we're bros, like, he's trustworthy." So now he's poor Sophie is like, "Oh, I guess they, like, made an alliance somehow," but no, they made no alliance. He doesn't know him at
Yeah.
all.
Wanna emphasize, folks, they did not talk during that entire sequence. It was, he had his first moment to chat with Alex once he came back from his own personal challenge, so I have never seen that before like, I don't think this is a common thing in Survivor, uh, to have that level of trustworthiness towards someone you don't know. I know we're reading it as, "Oh, okay, he felt good about him taking up that challenge," but I think it was just I'm looking at it in a general sense that he looked at this person and immediately felt he could trust him without even having had a dialogue with him. And we don't know the reason for why Alex chose to do that. And this is gonna make you question the entire time, like, how truthful is Alex gonna be with Jake? And it's just, it's gonna be a dynamic that's gonna be very interesting to follow. I think this could be the making of a very entertaining storyline for the season.
Yes, and the last thing for Jake, he also decides he wants to be a, uh, a shoe thief for
Yeah, that
unknown
was weird.
reasons.
That was weird.
He so it's Nicole is the victim here, can't find her shoe, very odd. Uh, and even my reaction is like, "You lost your what do you mean you lost? How is it possible?" And then later we get confession from Jake. He's like, "Oh yeah, it was me." Like, in fact, and like this is very intentional. Like I'm choosing to be. I just want to like put chaos in the game. In fact, I'm gonna like do it more than once, and every night there's gonna be someone's shoe missing. Like what
Well, apparently
what
a
what
Canadian thing.
could possibly to be gay? Yeah, it is what Canadians do. Uh, other by the way, other Canadian. Jeremiah Ing, 38 from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, global events manager. Um, I also got the vibe from Jeremiah. Like I think he'll be one of the patient, strategic players. And my evidence is that in this
Yes.
episode, Sophie expresses her concern that about the now maybe real bromance between Jake and Alex, and how like, oh no, like the longer this goes, like not only are they tight with each other, but they're physical threats. So if it goes on too long, now they're winning challenges, blah blah blah. And Jeremiah's like into confessional. I do agree with all that, but honestly, it'd be great if I was aligned with that. Let them be a shield for me, And if they're winning, then our alliance is winning. So honestly, like I'm fine with it. And I'm like, okay. Like that's like some not maybe not long term planning, but medium term planning. Because like he can prepare to pivot. I mean, he already has Sophie talking to him and being very open about all this, which is good. That's a good sign. Uh, so high hopes for Jeremiah.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's had a strong showing. That is a proven strategy. Being able to be an approachable person while still being able to be subtle in what you do. I definitely get those vibes out of Jeremiah more than anyone else that we've seen so far.
Uh, last two, Nicole Mazzullo, 26 from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, financial crime consultant. Very cool job title.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the classic curse of explaining why your job will benefit you in this game, and then it turns out not to help you at all. Like that is what happens because she talks about like, hey, like what I need to do is pay attention in my job is pay attention to clues and details to help figure out when something looks out of place, trying to figure out if people are lying to me in this case. Um, but unfortunately, she gets lied to, and she actually is going to be the person that will be voted out ultimately. So we don't get much of Nicole. She was the victim of the shoe thief. She did have a prime position in the immunity challenge, which they lost, so that didn't help. But at the end of the day, it's just she had no alliance. Not even like I said, like her and Annie, who are on the outs, are not even aligned together. So it's tough.
Yeah, I think the next person that we're going to talk about kind of calls it out too, where Sophie mentions that Nicole could be someone that I could see myself working with or being friends with, but like outside the bounds of the game. She didn't try to actually work with her. So, Nicole was just, I'm not sure if I can understand what led to her demise here, but it just seemed that, maybe she could have done a better job of being social, or trying to get herself to be included in things. But, it seems like other people already had something going. So she was kind of working from the bottom up and trying to play catch up to everyone else.
Agreed. And that Sophie you mentioned is the other Sophie, Sophie Balerdi, 27 from Miami, Florida, entrepreneur. Um, Sophie, I I don't know. I can't tell exactly how strategic she's gonna be, but she's talking a lot. We're hearing a lot from Sophie, which I think is interesting. Just like trying to think as a story maker here. She is the first before Jeremiah to actually talk about the meat. She calls Jake and Alex meet Shields multiple times. So that is the plan she started off wanting. It's just that later, like we said, she notices that, well, my plan was to have a one-on-one alliance with Jake. And of course, Jake suddenly roped in Alex, who he doesn't know. And and now it's kind of feels like they have a one-on-one alliance and I'm the plus one, which I didn't want that. I wanted Alex to be the plus one. So that's why she's starting to reconsider. Um, she doesn't act on it yet, other than venting to Jeremiah. But that I think that's uh, the main thing we get from Sophie.
Yeah, honestly, I get some pretty strong vibes from her in terms of like she can make it pretty far just based on what we've seen in the first episode. Not much to go on for a lot of others, but I think based on the quick glimpse that we even got from her, it seems that she is pretty observant, which is a good trait to have, especially in this game. Uh, she is trying to build relationships. She seems to have a good social game so far. And, I don't know how good she's gonna be in challenges, like, that is yet to be seen, like, her tribe has lost, but it's just 1 episode, but it seems like, if she can have a well-rounded game, she can make it pretty far. The social game seems to be pretty good. We'll see how effective she is in challenges.
Indeed. All right. So that's our cast. Let's get started. So we have the usual marooning of it, but which Jeff calls a marooning. In my head, I actually feel like the marooning should be you start on the boat and then you jump off and do something. But technically, yes, they are on the island, and then they have their first challenge as tribes. Um, and I think the thing we noticed about that challenge is very physical. I love running, carrying this like really heavy snake, but specifically, you had to run out 3 times to drag snakes back, and it was different pairs each of those times, and so everybody has to participate somehow.
I'm sorry, are you mentioning the first challenge or the one that we get into later in the episode?
Uh, oh, you're right. Is that
The
the
yeah, so the first one they
oh,
have
yeah,
it's the same thing really, what you're describing is not wrong, but it wasn't snakes, it was the boxes, they were carrying heavy boxes,
that's right,
to
that's
create
right.
a platform.
You're right, you're right, you're right.
But yeah,
But
so
ultimately
they're using the boxes, putting them together to create a platform that they can get a key off of and jump off the platform that they build, which again, these are heavy boxes, to then hit the bell, and the first tribe to do it ends up winning the challenge.
which I love. I love the, like, emphatic end of a challenge.
Yes.
Um, it's hard to do because like, other challenges is finish the puzzle and, like, yell for Jeff, or it'll be if it's an endurance challenge, it's just somebody else falling. So it is hard, but when I just love although it would have been interesting if, like, if 2 tribes were really close and, like, they both jump at the same time to see, like, who hits it first, but, um
We do get to see some clear separation here. This is where you see the Hina tribes, balance, where they're not having the immediate lead. Jake from the Kele tribe immediately runs out. He's this big physical guy. He's able to get his box out, but he's paired with Annie. Annie is kind of taking a little bit slower. So despite Jake getting up and down pretty fast, Annie really does slow him down from getting their portion of the relay done. Hina ends up making quick gains on everyone else, gets to the end to make the puzzle where they put all those heavy boxes together to be able to jump off of. And I believe it was MC, the fitness trainer, who ends up making the
Yeah.
jump and ringing the bell first, followed by well, in this case, there's just one winner. So the
Yeah,
Hina
yeah,
tribe,
so this is so I was gonna
they
say that this is the type where you
strong
get
first impression.
if and they get, pot, machete, and flint because of course, we're in this new era where you don't get that, you have to earn it, as Jeff would say. So they're happy, Hina's happy, and it sets up, the, like, redemption challenge. Doesn't really have a name specifically, but the 2 losing tribes need to send 1 person each who will compete against each other in something, but you are not told what that something will be, not much to go off of. Um, it's interesting that nowadays it is clearly the meta to not go on these types of things, whether it's a journey or this. So like most people are flat out saying like, I don't want to go.
I mean, you could definitely see why, right? Like you put yourself at a disadvantage by missing those key moments at the very start to make a good first impression with your tribe mates. So it doesn't necessarily mean you would get eliminated, but it doesn't in any way help you unless like, you bring something positive back for your tribe. I think that's where,
Well, yeah, but even I mean, some we've seen seasons where you fail to bring something back, and then people will be like, maybe they actually got like some advantage, and that's why they bring something, which is not true at all. But like
Yeah.
rumors start, like you just don't want to take these chances. So, but I just mentioned like clearly nowadays that's people's attitude, and eventually I think Jeff's gonna have to adapt and change. Just something else has to happen because it's like when you get a solved game, like now
Yeah.
it's less fun.
No,
Um,
that's a good point.
once But what was fun is what the actual challenge was. So Rizzo goes from our red tribe and Alex goes from our blue tribe, which looks like a big mismatch. But it depends on what the challenge is. What the challenge is that they will have to run out on the beach and there's so many coconuts everywhere. Your goal is to find all of your marked coconuts, bring them back to the beginning station, rip them open. There's going to be puzzle pieces in all of them. Use those puzzle pieces to create a map. And on that map, there's an X. Run to where you think that X is in real life. Dig. You'll get this big ship wheel and then use it to raise your flag. Um, Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Uh,
It's
and
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was say this is it looked like a huge mismatch and it played out like a huge mismatch as Alex was absolutely dominating.
I don't know about this one. This like what can I even say? This I liked what the challenge was supposed to be, but this ended up becoming just such a disappointing challenge. And I would have loved to have other like I would have loved for other people like in their tribes to be able to witness them going through this challenge because as you said, Alex gains that early lead and you're thinking, "Oh, for sure. Oh, Alex has got this in the bag." You know, like the Rizzgod is struggling to even make a puzzle. He's playing from behind. He's trying to copy Alex's puzzle, even though he probably has a different, yeah, he does have a different map. And despite that, like, I don't know how much time on the island passes. It seems like a lot of time has passed while they're going through the challenge because it felt pretty slow. Alex, for the life of him, just cannot. He has his map set up. He has such an early lead to the Riz God, but he is unable to dig up the wheel. He's so slow to the point where Rizzo eventually does catch up, eventually does make the map, takes his sweet time, cannot emphasize that enough, is able to find his spot where he needs to go dig up the hole, and ends up getting ahead of Alex. That just kinda blew my mind that, like, there's no way Alex is somehow losing this, like, he's built such an early lead. Calling this a
He just
comeback is an understatement. Both people just kind of failed. I know Rizzo won, but it was like, that
well
was a
okay,
terrible
well,
show.
let's so so Alex choked. There's no way to get around that. I mean, he had Rizzo dead to rights. Like his puzzle with the map is complete way before Rizzo. He has I mean, he should know where it is. And he just like you said, he just fails to find it. Mate, I think what we surmised is he just gave up too soon and like how deep he was digging. But even then, he had so much time to go back and try again in that same spot or anything. He just could not figure it out. Now tell me this. Do you have any issues on Rizzo's, by his own words, cheating during this challenge?
I well, it makes it does add some excitement to the game, and, you know, if he's not caught doing it, or if he's caught and there is a penalty that
I
they
mean, I can tell
enforce.
you he was definitely caught clearly
No,
by,
I mean, if there's a like, if he's caught and it works against him, where there is a like, he's taking a risk by doing that, right? I think if there's something like that, then yeah, sure, like, you're taking a risk, but if it works for you, it works for you. But if you're just cheating for the sake of cheating, and he's in a place where he's just kinda playing from behind, I don't think he needed to do that. I think he had it in him to be able to figure it out without needing to do that because
I don't
Alex
know if
was
he
just
had it in him. I mean,
I
he
mean,
was
Alex was
struggling
choking hard
even
here,
when
man.
cheating.
Alex was choking hard. He did not like, I feel like he had the correct spot the first time, but was, like, second guessing himself. Like, you look at his map, and it's not a hard to find area. It was in between, like, these 2 benches, and I feel like he had that. He just I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, so what we're talking about is Rizzo is so far behind and he cannot figure out his puzzle. He's also not realized he's left a coconut on the ground, which means he doesn't even have all the puzzle pieces. But I do feel like even if you don't have all the puzzle pieces, you should just be able to finish it, and then you'd have like two gaps, and you figure it out. But he can't figure it out, and Alex is off trying to dig somewhere. So because the maps are the same, like the image is the same, the X is not in the same spot, but the actual puzzle pieces are the same. Rizzo decides, well, I'll just run over to his puzzle, which is still there, and literally like hold his piece above Alex's pieces to figure out where they would go in his puzzle, which is really ingenious to realize that that was an option. It was just embarrassing that even when doing that, he still was struggling to finish
Yeah.
his puzzle. Wild. And then Alex comes back, has realized what's happening, so he does like kind of use his arms to box him out so he can't see it. Um, but obviously then Alex runs away, so then Rizzo can keep doing it. Rizzo does make a comment like, "Wow, like I would have thought he would have just like destroyed his puzzle afterwards, so I wouldn't be able to see it." And because he doesn't do that, Rizzo's able to take advantage. I think what happened there is that as Alex is panicking and choking, he's like, "Well, I'm gonna have to come back and look at it again, so I don't want to destroy it." That feels like what's going on there.
Yeah, so to answer your question, I was not a fan of how it was implemented here. I feel like if there's an opportunity and there is risk involved, but you're doing it knowing that there's the risk involved, then okay. And it potentially can backfire on you. But I this is one of those cases where I think he had it in him to do it. He was thinking about cheating, like, way earlier than he needed to. He just needed to f like, he's it seemed like he gave up on his own puzzle way too soon. And you gotta keep in mind, this is the first challenge. Like,
I
you
got
gotta
you.
stay
So
tough.
you're so let me know if this is fair to say. It's not exactly just like, oh, how what an immoral thing to do to break the rules like that. You're more this doesn't bode well for his future confidence and challenges if he so quickly resorted to these tactics.
Yeah, I think there's a pragmatic way to look at it, right? Like, and it benefits him that no one's able to see him do that, but if they could, that would people would have questions about his, efforts. So, this is one of those things where, yeah, like, I'm kind of presenting a hypothetical scenario to it, but I think in a first challenge, do I like to see someone cheating right off the bat? No, not really.
Gotcha. I had no problem with it. I loved it. Great entertaining. Did what had to be done. The real risk you're taking is if Alex hates you for this, then you've made yourself an enemy when that wasn't necessary. But of course, I mean, Alex might not even Alex could get voted out that night. I mean, he's on a different tribe. Um, but
And
I guess that there's a social risk, you know.
it's really funny how Alex went back to his own tribe and had to communicate to them that, "Yeah, no, we didn't win." But he made sure to highlight the fact that, "Oh, Rizzo was just so slow, like, he was not figuring it out." You would think that the rest of his tribe members would be like, "Okay, well, like, why didn't you win the challenge then?" Like, what prevented you from winning the challenge if what you're describing is like, "Oh, he couldn't figure this out."
Yeah, I was worried that they would hurt Alex more, but it looks like Jake was so enthusiastic to begin the alliance, it
And
didn't
Jake
really
just,
matter.
like, fell in love with him. It's like Alex can do no wrong in Jake's eyes, and that was his first time actually talking to him.
Yeah. Um, After this is kind of stuff we've talked about with the members. We get the shoe thief. We get some beginnings of alliances. We get Jake and uh, Alex. So I think the next the next thing that really happens is our immunity challenge.
Yes.
Now it's what I'll describe before with these like really heavy stakes that everyone has to contribute in. It also ends with we've seen this before too, but you have this like tabletop ball maze, but in order to hold it, different tribe members are pulling strings in different directions, and then there's one person in the middle who is also holding it, but they're more importantly calling out instructions to everybody. Uh,
Yep.
and yeah, this blue tribe fails with Nicole as the caller in this challenge.
I do like that final, puzzle in the challenge where everyone has to be coordinated. And our missing co-host, I'm sure, would appreciate the mud pits in this challenge.
Yeah. Um, so after and but this was near the end reward actually. So
Correct.
the two tribes that won ended up getting some toolkits, which may or may not be good. I'm in past seasons, you win something like that, and then you get like a whole montage of them trying to build things, and either they do a pretty cool job, and then that looks good on TV, or they have like a hilariously bad job, and that'd be a segment. So that's how we haven't really been seeing that stuff. So I'm kind of pessimistic we'll see that next episode, but you never know. Maybe we'll have some time for that.
And another observation was the Hina tribe again wins this. The Kele tribe again is kind of in dead last, and the Uli tribe is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I think Wuli's definitely closer to Hina though, because Kele, I mean, they look really bad in that last segment. I mean, they're
Agreed.
disagreeing with each other, yelling. I mean, there's even like Nicole is trying to tell Annie to pull more on her side, and Annie's saying it's as far as it can go. And then like all the next cuts are to the other tribes. They're clearly like you could be pulling it further. So that's just the tough situation, and it sets up the dynamics of this because now, by most Survivor seasons, um, strategy, you failed at a challenge and you also don't look like someone who will help in future challenge, you are immediately a target. So Nicole ends up being in trouble. And really, like it's looking really bad really fast because everyone's pretty much on board. I mean, there's this doesn't look like there's much to be done until we hear from Annie. And Annie is thinking ahead. She thinks, well, if they're targeting someone who's weak at challenges now, and that's Nicole, if we lose next time, who's the next weakest person? That's probably me. I don't want so in effect, she's kind of saying I don't want to lose my meat shield, so to speak. Different kind of meat shield, but still. So she tries to enact a plan to avoid this. And she talks to Sophie and is proposing, oh well, we if like we won't talk to Nicole, let Nicole have the wrong impression, do whatever she does. But you and me pull in one more person, we could take out one of the bigger threats like Alex, like Jake. Why don't you go talk to Jeremiah? He'd probably do. Uh an interesting plan. Like, so we obviously know how that goes, but what'd you think of this? Let me protect my meat shield kind of thing. Like she's acting like Nicole is an ally she's trying to save. Is kind of what's happening here.
I yeah, I don't know if that's the initial impression I got, even though, like, yes, what you're saying is true. I she just this was just the wrong play. You're shooting yourself in the foot. You have a tribal coming up. You should be focusing on that tribal. And, something that Sophie pointed out was Annie wasn't really talking to anyone. She wasn't really working on building a relationship. So to be thinking ahead, you could be going home today. Why are you putting someone who might be in a position of power in their crosshairs and communicating that to someone else who you don't know could be working with them? I was worried that Sophie might not communicate that to, I guess, the bigger group that is in power. But I'm glad that she did. It wouldn't have been smart to just keep that to herself. I'm not sure what Annie's game
Well,
plan was there.
unless she liked the idea, like Sophie could have said, "I like that plan." I was she was I don't like that Alex and Jake are bromances. So I will talk to my friend Jeremiah, and we three will do it. That's an option she could have done.
I think that that's possible, but this is where, like, she's being observant about this. She's noticing that Annie is not really communicating with anyone, so if she does try to form, like, a new tribe with her, it could be a weaker tribe than the one that she's already in. So I think that's how she's assessing it. She realizes that Jake and Alex, more so really Jake, who's driving it, is forming a bromance, and she could be a part of that. And to her, that does put her in a position of power. She herself, like, we don't fully know who's in charge of that group so far. At least I don't think so. So she could put herself in a position where we're talking about meat shields. She sees that she has two other meat shields ahead of her. So for her, it doesn't make too much sense to be working with Annie so far with whatever Annie is presenting. I think this was a case where Annie did not really have to say much here. It did seem like Nicole to everyone else was the weak link. And by bringing this up, she's thinking further ahead. And here's my biggest concern. This might not even be an issue, right? Like, they might start winning their next set of challenges and not need to go to tribal. Honestly, who knows? Maybe all the way up until they have to do a post merge. So, or I should just say merge. So it's like, that's one of those things where I don't know why she's thinking ahead the way that she is, and that would be scaring people around her. And now she's making herself a bigger target than she really needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the conversation she had is a conversation you have with your number one, and, clearly, either she thought Sophie was number one and was completely wrong, or she just decided to make a plan with someone who's not number one, which is generally a bad idea. I mean, you remember Alex actually approached Annie like after Alex came back and was like, "It'd be so cool if we worked together." So if anything, it feels like if you wanted to shake things up, you would have confided a plan with Alex, not with
Yeah.
Sophie.
Yeah, as you said, he
I
initiated that. She had something there. And to your point about Nicole being a potential meat shield for her viewing her as that, generally you see people on good terms with people that shield them. Like, she has not really even had a dialogue with Nicole. So I thought that was just a weird dynamic that, like, even if she's thinking that, to Nicole, she could be thinking that she's her meat shield. And like, they have not even really been communicating with each other. We don't know what the story is there. And where Nicole seems to be at the bottom, Annie is just trying to make a case for her to be even below Nicole for no reason.
Yep. So in the end, Annie puts herself in danger because there are some whispers like, should we just target Annie? But the rest of the group does decide to continue voting Nicole, including Annie. So Annie clearly finds out that Sophie's not going to do that plan. So it's a unanimous vote against Nicole. And that leaves a stronger four than there was before and Annie. Because that, like you said, like because Sophie confides in the rest of her group, now I think that bonds them even more. So this looks very bad for Annie at this point. I have to point out, Nicole herself brings it up. She could have used her shot in the dark
I
if
was
she
hoping
felt
she
in
did.
danger.
Yeah.
And clearly she decided either she gambled that she was not in danger and therefore would have her shot in the dark later in the game because that's a one use advantage. But alas, gone.
What a strong first episode that would have been had she succeeded in pulling out her shot in the dark and surviving off of that.
Oh yeah, no, it would be hype. I mean, the thing is, when the shot in the dark works, which it has now worked a few times, it is hype in the moment, and then afterwards, it can feel a little gimmicky, like what you use your get out of jail free card. But I do think part of the balancing is like you were saved, but if you haven't actually made alliances, you're probably still screwed. Because in this scenario, if she had done that, then the only person that wasn't in that alliance, Annie, she would have gone home because she was the only other person that got a vote, which was from Nicole. And then now that she doesn't have a shot in the dark, Nicole is easy pickings. So the longer we've had shot in the dark, I think the more I've been on board with it, and like I think it is a very useful and balanced advantage at this point. Uh, but yeah, we lose Nicole. Do you have any desire to see a return from Nicole someday in the future?
I do not.
Maybe even on season 50. Okay. Very well.
Absolutely not.
Wish for- so we lose our first one. Um, and that is our episode. I thought it was a fun character episode. We did learn about several of our cast. Very interestingly, we did not have even a whisper of a beware advantage, and the idols that come with that beware advantage. I have no doubt that they're out there because like all these seasons have been cookie cutters, so I'm sure there are beware advantages out there. But it is pretty rare for them, none of them, to come up in the first episode. So that was different.
Yeah, good catch. I personally liked the diverse cast of survivors that we have so far, so I think we have some interesting storylines brewing, and this was a pretty good first episode, I would say. Had the potential for more, but definitely a good start to season 49.
Yep, firmly good. I am not hooked through one episode, but but I am invested in like specific people. Like I need to see how long Jake and Alex stay aligned, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested in that. I'm very interested in how far Rizzo can go because I do feel like he stands out a lot. So the first time that they go to tribal, I think he's in grave danger. But the longer he survives, the more hyped I'm gonna be. Um, I'm curious how Matt does as he is the elder statesman here. Uh, so often the age is a disadvantage, but we'll see if he can turn that around.
Yeah, I would love to have him form a bond with Jason as the season progresses, and Jason just inadvertently turns him into, like, some sort of a gamer.
I know that'd be cool. And like really any alliance Matt makes is gonna be like, ooh, the youth and experience combined. So that'll be fun. But it brings us to a very important segment. I am happy to get back on the board here because finally, after months and months, I am participating in the Winners Picks Challenge that you and Ange have been doing all this time.
That's right.
So how this is gonna work is each of us is going to pick two people that we feel are have like great chances to win. Like we're predicting a winner here, and we get basically a free pass because we get another choice. And then at the end of every episode we watch, we will have the option to change from them. But if we do that, we can never change back. And if our current winner pick is ever voted out or leaves the game in some way, well, that's just too bad for you. You've now just lost somebody with no chance to switch. Those, in other words, that is, if you are stubborn in this contest, you will likely fail, unless you just got the winner on your first guess, which you might. Um,
Okay. Would you like to
one
do
question
the
for you.
honors?
Well, I do want to do the honors, but one question for you, F. Do you want to keep our picks unique, or will it be permissible to have overlapping picks?
I'm personally okay with it. Like, I'm not gonna judge you for like, it's you see potential where I could see potential, and just because we both see the same potential does not mean, like, one of us has to choose something else that we might be less inclined to choosing. So I'm okay with that. That doesn't matter to me.
Okay. With that said, my first pick is going to be Jeremiah.
Ooh, okay. I was thinking about him. I do like to have one guy and one girl as a pick. That's generally the rule I follow. Um, I'll do Sophie from the that same tribe, not the Hina Sophie, the Kele
Mm.
Sophie.
That means our picks are, for now, allies. So
Yes.
interesting. In theory, I do like avoiding first of all, picking someone who's in a alliance already. That should be good. And then alliance members that if push came to shove, there'd be other people that would be a target first. So in this case, that's Jake and Alex. So that's I think that justification I think works for both of our picks. Um, via snake draft rules, that means it is your pick next.
Yeah, I gotta think about this for a second. Do I hold
Right now, I'm
myself to my rule?
deciding.
I do like Savannah. I don't know if I'll
Mhm.
choose her too because I think she's thinking ahead in the right way as opposed to what we saw Annie do. Um, I do like the vibe of the Hina tribe. I think I'm gonna pick someone from Hina, and if I'm following my rule, I would choose a guy from Hina. So between Jason, Matt, Steven. Steven? I'll go with Steven. We'll go with the rocket scientist.
Good old rocket scientist. All right, all right. I am going to pick Shannon. I think this is also like sub picking someone in an alliance, even though that alliance hasn't fully been defined because it sounds like Shannon and Savannah are deciding, but like, should we include Nate or should we include Jawan or maybe even Rizzo? But ultimately, it feels like they're going to be in a majority alliance. And then I imagine if they're ever in danger, I think Savannah is going to be the person targeted first because I just feel that she will make enemies, which would hopefully shield Shannon. So that's gonna be my pick. The only
Yeah,
risk is
I
if
could
the
see that. I think I'm trying to have a positive assessment in that she's gonna know when to like speak out about something and when not to. So that's what I'm hoping. Like that she's strategic in her social game.
oh yeah, nah, she looks she comes across as very strategic. My only risk with Shannon is if the yoga people get sick of it, but hopefully like they keep winning and then they'll
Well,
be like, oh yeah,
we've already
yoga's
seen
great.
one
We'll just
person.
yeah, but that's her ally for now, so it's fine. Uh, but all right. So I have Jeremiah and Shannon, and you have Stephen and
Let it
Sophie B.
be known, Mr. William here chose someone from Boston, Red Sox fan.
It's true. It's true, and maybe that'll be a factor if I ever need to switch from her in future. But I'm hoping like I said, she's moved on from that stage of her life. She no longer is
Didn't take
suffering
the New
under the
Yorker.
Fenway Empire. I didn't choose it. I love how
You could have
Rizzo came
chosen the
across,
other
but
Sophie, who's from New York.
maybe that would have been the smart choice because like someone who doesn't show up now maybe is going to show up later. But uh, I could, yeah, but I really wanted to pick Rizzo. I think in our fantasy league, he's gonna be one of my picks just so I have someone exciting to root for.
Yep.
But he just seems like such an easy vote right now. Like I think something
I
needs to happen. Like if he
yeah.
finds the aware advantage than the idol, that would make me more confident then because at least he could defend himself once. Um,
Yeah, I'll have to think over those other votes, but I think we can at least rest easy like with how the format of this is where, you can change it if need be. So as we get a better understanding of how these survivors are, that'll give us an opportunity to reassess and figure out, okay, like this person, the potential I didn't see it previously just because like, we didn't get to see too much screen time of them. So I'm pretty comfortable with the picks I have right now, but I think it could be subject to change, so we'll see.
now I know what it's like to feel like you guys because I'm like ooh, nervous. Like how am I fix gonna do?
Yeah, it's hard, especially if you wanna be a ride or die, like, if you wanna stick with your picks through thick and thin.
Yeah. Well, it's not about flip flopping. It's just like when you detect danger, knowing when it's time to jump ship. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
really
I
what it's
I
about.
hear that.
But I doubt there'll be need like soon. But eventually, like maybe like episode 5, like there'll be some danger to avoid. Um, but all right, so that is episode 1 of season 49. The road to season 50 has now begun. Thank you all for tuning in, and get excited as we break down episode 2 next week.
Looking
But
forward to it.
until then, And until we speak again, ciao.